Alright guys, welcome back to another Wealth and Wellness episode. Today, we're going to talk to you guys a little bit about a little social wellness. So, how do you find people that like things that you like?
I guess it really depends on what you like
Yeah?
to go about finding other people who are going to be interested in the same thing.
Mm-hmm. So, I guess, you got an example?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Alright, so how about with the Instagram page you have, the G page, right? How did you find your community that way?
I guess I started just like following Jeeps that I found attractive.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, hey, I kind of like my Jeep too. So I just started like taking pictures of it. I was like, I think mine's pretty cool too.
Yeah.
Just took pictures. I don't know, I guess I really lucked out. My first 100 followers I had and still have like such a good supportive base of probably like 20-25 people.
Oh yeah?
And this is like when I made it like 4 years ago now. And it's still like a good core of people that I communicate with. So I think I really lucked out in finding like my like more personal interest group in that like niche and community that inspired me to like keep growing the page. And as the page grows, more people come by.
Yeah, that's true. And now you're up there pretty high on the page. But I guess so essentially you kind of made the group.
Yeah. There wasn't any like large community group based in that genre yet. And so when I started, it was just like, I kind of went through like different phases of like what I was creating. I went from like, let me just, shoot some photos. Because I was like, I bet I can take some cool photos too. Yeah. And then I took them, uploaded, and I was like, okay, my photos suck. And I was like, well, maybe I should like, put some effort into learning how to make better photos and stuff like that. And then as I did, I like, got like critical advice from my like small little tribe community group. Yeah. That, just kind of kept pushing me to do that. And as I took more and more pictures, I joined like Facebook groups, which I think was probably like the biggest thing. It's like the largest social aspect where you can like communicate really well with people. I think it's even better than Instagram. Yeah. But it just kind of like grew from that, even though my Instagram is way bigger than the Facebook. It's just kind of like, exponentially growing and more people join and just kind of keeps moving. But a big part of that was I'm in tons of like group chats in Instagram. So you can talk to like different groups about like different specific genres. So I'm in group chats that are like local. Like we have just like a specific Grand Rapids group chat. Oh, yeah. So we can like talk to people that are like specifically close by. Then we have like, farther out, and then like statewide, and then I'm in nationwide groups. But that also works the same with Facebook. There's different like levels to every single group. Yeah. And you can just kind of, if you have like a like-minded topic, you could just go out there and find people, because like no matter how like special or unique that topic is, there's like tons of unique people. You're gonna come across things that are like different traits that people enjoy. So it's just like finding people, and then making yourself like available to be found as well.
Yeah, that's probably a key thing for a lot of people, because a lot of people too, when they're just starting off and trying to really find that that group to belong in, because that's very important to have like a support system of some type, whether it be your family or just a small group that has a similar interest in you. And that's what this video is of course about. But when you realize that the little things that you like, other people like it too, it sparks something so creative within each and every person, basically, where it's like, I feel a place of belonging. And it's crazy how amazing the social media has created a place where if you were in a small town, as we mentioned in a previous video, where it's like 10 miles away to the next thing, you can still find people with a similar interest. And so you're not just confined to the people on that same wave that just kind of grew up around you. So that's probably a really great aspect of it. And seeing that people are also just like you when you might be different than the people around you. So I think that really did a great aspect for you, especially because you said you found Jeeps first that you liked, and you're like, I kind of like mine too, because you had one.
That was such a good start. But I think like the biggest thing, growing from, like I physically remember seeing in my phone having like 40 followers.
Oh yeah.
like yeah. I still like remember seeing that. But like back when I had sub 100 followers, like I said, I had that tribe that was like motivating. One of the people in the tribe teaches photography at a college.
Oh yeah. Oh,
so I literally had like the best input that I could get. They were at the time they were almost like my second family. The professor who literally taught at a college.
Yeah.
She also taught like computer science and stuff like that, so I could like ask her questions.
That's crazy. Awesome.
We had like such a unique tribe of people from like so many different areas around the country, and like people who worked different jobs, had like different types of family lives. But we all had like one common denominator that brought us all together. And so then we could just like kind of talk about anything. We kind of created like this little family. And that was when I was at like 60, 80 followers.
Yeah.
I already had like that community there. So like even the difference between 80 followers and 8,000 followers, I still always had like that support system and community to like fall back on and to kind of help like continue to drive me in the things that I wanted. So I think that's like why it's so important to have like a like-minded interest group, because even if you find and I think like you can have a bigger impact with less people if you're like physically with them often. The more time you spend with them, the bigger impact they'll have. Like those people I've never met. I don't think I've met any of them like in person before. But had I met them in person, it would have had a greater effect. So if you can find like a local group like that, and even if it's just like 2, 3, 4 people, and you guys like actively work together to better yourselves, and like just kind of work in like in the common interest that you guys have, I think it's just like exponential, and it can really change people's lives. Those groups.
Yeah, it kind of sounds a lot like almost like a mastermind group, because essentially with that, the mastermind group in the book Think and Grow Rich is your group of people, as you mentioned, who have a common goal. It doesn't necessarily mean that they all had a Jeep or whatever it might have been, but whatever your common goal is, by having that community of people working towards that goal together in the spirit of harmony, you achieve that goal. And by meeting up or communicating multiple times per week, it only again, it's like that second family you mentioned, but everyone's learning from each other and you're all growing together, and because you have that strong community, it just boosts you further and further. And as the group itself has power, so it's like those people, if you all work together to create a common goal, no matter what your interest is, you guys can accomplish so much by combining your knowledge and just getting going. And that's pretty much how it sounded for you. You had that small group that taught you everything.
Yeah, essentially. And none of them were looking to like benefit from anything. They weren't even really like pushing me to gain more followers or more likes. That was more like a personal vendetta that I was going on to just like try to find exponential growth. Where they were like, oh, well, I know how to use cameras, I know how to do photography, I do tons of edits, I edit videos. I was like, oh, like I don't do any of that. Like I had my iPhone 5 and I was over there like taking pictures.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I need something better than this. Got a camera, and I was like, okay, this kind of works. And I'm talking to like the people, they're like, oh, that camera's really bad. And I was like, yeah, I see that. So then I'm like working with like limited supplies, trying to like make the most out of what I had. But I had such a good support system that they're like, oh, like don't worry about it. Or like I post a photo and I do terrible. And they're like, oh man, like let me tell you why I did terrible.
Yeah. And
it kind of like just like grounded you and like brought you back to reality. But then they were also like such a second family that it didn't matter if the photo got 1,000 likes or if it literally got 10 likes. They were like as supportive no matter where it was. Just the fact that I was like doing something that they saw that I enjoyed, and they just like continued to push that. And then we all just had that common denominator. We didn't even have like the same Jeeps either, like in our little community group. It was really strange how that group ended up getting formed, but it was it was such a great group to be on. Great people in it.
That's solid. So how you built yours basically was using the Facebook and Instagram platforms?
Yeah, I think from what I've realized is that like you can make really good connections on Instagram, but if those connections are real, they'll carry over to Facebook.
Yeah. Because
the Facebook groups are where things are more specific, but you can actually carry on like long form conversations. You can share like videos. There's just like a way better conversation platform than like the Instagram Messenger or Instagram comments.
That makes sense too.
So if you're really trying to like share knowledge, it pretty much needs to go through Facebook.
That makes sense. A lot of, especially because your posts are super limited on what it can actually contain on Instagram and everything you can do, because Facebook bought Instagram, so it's like, it's a sub company. It's like you're operating under when you could be using the full potential.
You're right.
So
that's a good example, yeah.
So it's pretty solid. But what other sort of sources do you think we can utilize for the people out there that maybe have tried that Facebook or maybe have tried Instagram? What other resources are out there for people trying to find their people, you know, like-minded individuals?
A big one that I've tried and wasn't a fan of was LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
I think it just really depends on like what you're looking for. Everyone on LinkedIn is like pushing to like make their career seem like it's way better than it is.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, as much as I like that, if you're not like a extreme entrepreneur business person, or you're like really trying to get a new job like in a field, I feel like LinkedIn like isn't really the place to make like an interest group.
Yeah.
I feel like there's good one-on-one connections, but if you're not like in those niches, I just feel like it's like super fake. Even my LinkedIn and the people like in the same field that I'm in and their LinkedIns, it feels like very plastic and fake. Like there's no real connections. It's like, hey, how you doing? Can you go give me a thumbs up on my, you can take like those dumb little tests, like Microsoft Word Proficient Expert level 7 or whatever. Like, hey, can you give me a thumbs up? Can you give me like a quality recommendation? It's like, well, I've never really met you, and that's like the point of LinkedIn. Is like, it's supposed to be like a resume service where you can like work with coworkers to like hype you up, basically. So I'm not really a fan of that as an interest group, but I think if you're trying to get a new job, or if you're trying to stunt on everyone about like how smart you are, how great your life is, it's just another platform that allows you to do that.
I see. Because when I was looking at LinkedIn, never really signed up or like jumped in on LinkedIn yet. Maybe I'll check it out just to give it a whirl, taste what it's like or whatever. But I was thinking it looked like a giant like business Twitter.
Yeah, there's definitely a feed for you to post stuff like that. That's really what it is. It is like a business Twitter, but there's so many like, a lot of big companies push a lot of their like PR reps on there to like make content, but they're basically just making content to draw in like better employees.
Oh, I see.
So it is really kind of like a business Twitter, but also like no one really cares.
Yeah.
On there.
Oh, okay. Well, so I guess no one really cares on Twitter either.
That's probably true. Yeah.
So, I was
but Twitter's more like to share your thoughts, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, and then people follow you if they like care about your opinion or like think you make funny stuff. LinkedIn, people kind of follow you just to like reach a certain amount of connections. Once you reach 500, I think it's 500 connections. It doesn't say how many connections you have. It just says 500 plus.
So
when I got a LinkedIn, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna try and stunt. So I was just like adding everyone in like any sort of relative niche field or school, trying to get that 500 plus. Because if you have that many connections, it's like, man, like, you must be someone important.
Right.
And if you have 501 connection, or if you have 500,000 connections, it's still the same number.
I see. So it's definitely adding to the whole fact that social media can allow you to flex at almost like a very small interval. Or, I mean, if you consider it a flex, or you can just, I guess it all depends on how you perceive it. But with that too, that kind of ties into like other social medias in a way, because we did speak a little bit about Twitter, but there's also, what about personal events actually? So using your Facebook group or your Instagram group or your LinkedIn group, what if you met up, planned an organized event, and hosted it and advertised it on Facebook to try to get local people to come who are interested in that same thing? That'd be another great way to utilize those external forces and everything that's all online, so there's no face-to-face, so you can meet people face-to-face.
Yep, and that's definitely something I've done. I've done that in multiple different groups, and if you guys, like, I have not had a bad experience with it. Bless you.
Thank you.
But like when you meet up with people that are like, I don't know, like everyone, the events that we went to, everyone showed up specifically because I like took pictures of my Jeep.
Oh yeah.
So it was like, it was the coolest thing ever, seeing like 30 people there and like 15 Jeeps, and you're like, I'm touched.
Awesome.
Like it just like hit a special place in your heart. But if you're setting up, you know, like 100 people mastermind events where you're sharing like contact information and like business information and stuff like that, I can see like just how powerful that could really be. Even if you went to like one of those a month and you met, you know, like had a real conversation with like 15 people, it would really make a big difference in like, you know, your like atmosphere and like sphere of influence that you would have.
Definitely. Yeah, that's great you mentioned that too, because I just was reading an audiobook, and what they mention is controlling your environment. So if you put yourself in those situations where you're around people that you would like to aspire to be, that's like the circles that you're surrounding yourself with. Your environment sort of crafts you in a way. Not everyone is a victim of their environment, but you can create your environment to help boost you up. So going to these events, you know, spending 5-10 minutes with each individual, trying to meet as many people as possible, take a couple tips from our previous video, and like make it a habit to meet a certain person or meet X amount of people every time you do something. You'll create your lifestyle to be that type of person who does network and who does, you know a lot of people, but just don't get stuck on the motion of like, I'm just going to talk to these people. If you're not taking action off of what you're actually getting from meeting people, you're just like you're just like sitting there, you're static. You're not really, you're like a thinker, not a doer. You know what I mean? Like you're just going through the motions, but you're not actually taking it to the next step. But
yeah, there's definitely communities to be found as well, like depending on where you're looking. Because you know, like people with like large Twitter followings, if someone like tweets something, there's like tons and tons of comments.
Yeah.
If someone tweets something that's like, you know, informative or something you want to know more about, you can always like connect with the people in the comments there to try to like basically just like jump or bandwagon off of like someone else's already created community and like the following that comes with that.
That is true. I saw one time a while back, Gary Vee actually posted saying the comments on anything is the cocktail party. You know, you don't have to physically show your face anymore with the internet. You just have to be knowledgeable. And again, with our previous video, how to be knowledgeable in any situation. You know, how these basic habits that you can incorporate every single day will make you at a renaissance. You know, you're just going to be knowledgeable in anything and feel like you can fit in anywhere. So I guess you can go and search for your groups, or you could check out our habits video and then create your own life based off of the new habits that you built. And then just make any group you want based off the knowledge that you've learned. But
yeah, that is a great way to, I mean, people can like find, if you create a group, people can find that on Facebook. You can obviously share it with your friends. You can share it with like other Facebook groups. So you can almost like, you know, create your own interest group if you really want to, instead of like trying to join one, and even like start your own events and things like that, or work with other interest groups on Facebook to, you know, co-host events and stuff like that. If there's like really like something that you're passionate about, there's tons of other people who are passionate about it as well.
Goes back to that beginning statement, you know, it doesn't matter how unique you think that individual thing is, search it. It's very saturated. Watch, there's so many people that like similar things to you, and there's a community of people out there that are looking for people to share that interest with, you know. And even if yours may veer off the normal beaten path, there are people that may be curious about what you're doing. So again, putting yourself out there to be seen, as you mentioned before, actually share what you do with the world, actually share what you're interested in, and don't fear that criticism that comes with it. Just be yourself, and that's all there is to it. People will gravitate to the real you. Real recognizes real. But that's all I really have to say on the topic, unless you have anything else to add.
I'm pretty much wrapped up. One of the media communities that we didn't mention is Discord.
Ooh.
I know we both used to be heavily involved with day trading and like trading stocks.
Yeah.
And I was in tons of like Discord groups.
Yeah.
And I think like that is a great way to communicate you know, if you already have like a following that you want to get closer with, it's
Mhm.
bringing them over to Discord.
Oh yeah,
I think
definitely.
you can have like great conversations, and like it just like keeps track of everything. It's great. I think that's one of like the best communicating, you know, like group form communication
That is
platforms
out
that
there.
there are.
Yeah, like ginormous group chat, and literally, like you said, keep track of every single thing. And so you can drop files, you can drop links, always come back
Yep.
to them, refer to them, and again, it's so open that when you see that list of people in there, you can direct message the individual. You know, if you want to talk one on one, if you're invited in a group and you want to know more about the specific person that's talking in the group, you know, you have those connections, and it's amazing that, you know, it's just in your hand. So anytime you really want to branch off and do anything different, you don't have to wait for a certain time, because again, we have 24 hours in a day, but not everyone's on the same time zone. So you can always reach out and do something. You just have to actually take action.
Yeah, there's always people out there who are like looking to join tribes and like
Mhm.
literally just support you, especially if you're someone who can, you know, like support someone else as well.
Mhm.
You can just like work together and support each other. But there's people in those groups out there waiting and literally looking for you
Yeah.
to join their group.
So what are you guys waiting for? Also, let us know down below if you guys have joined any previous groups in the comments. So we're always looking to see what you guys are interested in, and you know, we'll see if we have some similar interests as well. Of course, you guys know our primary interest, the wellness, of course, but you know, who knows? You heard us day trading and stuff like that. Maybe you guys are interested in that. Let's know about it in the comments. Also, don't forget though, notification bell, because again, we got an exciting video coming out tomorrow as well that you guys don't want to miss, as well as a couple more Wellness Wednesday, Physical Friday, and another one of these Social Saturdays as well coming on. So gotta stay tuned, gotta tap that like.
Yeah, we've got some great content coming. Make sure you subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Also respond to people who like comment down below as well. So they'd love to hear from you guys. Have some great conversations, because that is one way you can join a community or a tribe, is by communicating through the comments, and the comments of YouTube would be a great place to start.
What's amazing is just by you making it this far, you're part of our community. So the comments is all for us. It's all of us, guys. Everyone that types in there, everyone that replies, this is what we've created. You're already a part of the community. You just got to take that action. So looking forward to talking with you guys. Wellness out.
Yep.